back, YouTube. I'm Edwin.
And I'm Joseph.
And this is
Edwin and Joseph Talks.
So it's been 2 weeks since we were together, a week since we posted anything. But we're back. So let's jump into Alien Monday. So I think today we're going to go ahead and talk about the fact that the government is starting to acknowledge UFOs as, there's something out there, but they're still straying away from aliens. Like it's still not out of this world for them.
Almost a taboo for them to say it, but they want to start acknowledging the actual presence of UFOs, stuff they can't explain.
So, which is, it's kind of weird to think about it like that because, you can mention UFO. I know UFO doesn't mean alien; it just means unidentified flying object. But at the same time, like, what else could it be? I know there's different vehicles and aircrafts and stuff that different militaries are working with, but at the same time, it's like these things do the weirdest things that nothing on Earth, at least that we've seen, can do. Stopping on a dime, going from 0 to just whatever. Like, it's kind of weird to think about the fact that they're trying to acknowledge UFOs without acknowledging, like, aliens in the same category.
Yeah, I think that they have to take at least one step forward, and that's their step forward. I think they're kind of worried if they were to say, "Oh, we're acknowledging aliens now," because that's kind of a game changer. Not only for, military and everything, but for so many things that the human race has to deal with. Religions, government groups. There's so much that would be changed if they just said, like, "Oh yeah, there's aliens, and we're dealing with them."
Now, I know there's a lot of we were talking about it in, like, the Navy. The Navy's one of the first group of government, military, whatever, that they're out there saying, there's something out there, and they're talking about how much more serious the government needs to take it and pay more attention to these reports. How much longer do you think before the government actually starts just accepting it and just kind of telling us, like, hey, this is going on, it's kind of weird, and either they know stuff about it or they don't. Either way, I think everybody's just kind of looking for, like, the acknowledgement of it,
when it comes to the political matters, I don't know what all is keeping them from, letting it out. I don't know if there's classified stuff that they just don't want to release yet, or if it's just certain government groups that don't want information leaked. But I think if you get the right demographics of Congress people and even president in there, it'll be released. It's just getting the right people in there that's not afraid to do it. I think that's what it just basically comes down to.
Now, one thing I read, and we didn't talk about this, at least not to each other. The other day, I actually read a story about Bernie Sanders and the political runnings coming up again and stuff. And he actually mentioned that if he is elected, he will give out the truth about extraterrestrials and whether or not there's an existence of them and what they know and stuff. How much of that should we believe, though? Because, like we talked about in a conspiracy video, that's one of the reasons people think JFK got assassinated.
Yeah, and I know that Hillary Clinton was on the same kind of thing, that she said if she got elected, she would release anything that she found out about it. I just actually watched the Joe Rogan podcast with Bernie Sanders. Okay. And at the very end of it, Joe asked him, if you find anything of aliens, you want to tell us? And he was like, yeah. He goes, I'll announce it on your show, actually. Which is kind of cool. In fact, I know we don't try to go into political stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, in a year we do have a new election coming up. Um, I'm not really going to go into that, but check out that podcast just offshoot because they talk about like kind of the whole debates on television and how kind of one sided they are.
Yeah.
That you only got 12 seconds to explain something that can take hours.
To explain.
You know what I mean? But yeah, he did mention, you know, he would let that information out if he got in office. Just the hard part is getting him into office. How all the political stuff goes down. Anymore, it's who has the most money.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's what it comes down to. So, I mean, that's sad, but that's a totally different thing. Would I like to see something like that? Yeah, you know, get a presidential candidate in there that's going to release, you know, information about it, you know.
But I mean, knowing how the government takes this, and knowing, I mean, UFOs and alien sightings have been going on for what, like 70 years already. Do you think?
It's longer than that.
What's been reported has been about 70 years. Now, they've gone through, like, I mean, you hear stories, just the craziest extremes, just to keep this hush hush. I mean, do you think this is just something he's saying to get elected, or do you think he actually will release and tell us, like, hey, you know, they're here, we know?
No, I doubt he's banking on all the people that believe in aliens for him to say that just to be elected. That's kind of a weird thing to say, you know, to get votes. No, I honestly think that, you know, if he got in there and he found out information, yeah, I think he would release it. Now, the only problem is that what if our government is working with like an alien race or something and they've been doing it for a while? That might cause a lot of outrage with people.
Yeah, that I can see that, and then it's going to become pretty much the people against its government, whether it's an extreme one or not.
So it comes down to, you know, what all is classified that they can release, you know? I mean, it's one thing of saying, like, oh, yeah, you know, there's aliens. Another thing of saying, like, hey, we have this classified information of where we're doing this and this and this. People are going to go, whoa, wait a minute. Yeah.
So, I mean, either way, I guess it'd still be pretty cool, though. I mean, just to actually have somebody, I mean, out of all people, the President of the United States, you know, out here saying that'd be pretty big.
Yeah, and that's one thing, like, especially since what happened in Ohio not too long ago. It was almost the same phenomena that happened with the Phoenix Lights.
Yeah.
You know.
And we both saw that video. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you can look for it on YouTube. It's pretty. The lights are pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. And you have a friend that had lives in Ohio.
Yeah.
That had mentioned it, and it was two totally unrelated things. Where I had seen the video, and then I was like, oh, that's what he was probably talking about.
Yeah, and it was funny because like as soon as he heard and saw about it, like he messaged me right away and told me like, hey, you know, you should look up these lights. And then like literally the day after or something like that, the video pops up.
Yeah.
And it was pretty crazy. The lights are kind of weird. I wish we had some footage on that just to put up the.
Yeah, we can probably, do that another time. I don't know with all, like, video rights and stuff, but we'll try to get that figured out.
Well, we'll try to get that to you guys because it was pretty interesting.
But along with what you had said with the Navy, basically what happened was the Navy wants to acknowledge any persons that has a UFO experience. They want it documented, basically without criticism, and that started when they released the information on the USS Nimitz, which we had talked about, and so I think they're trying to go forward with that. I think when we're really going to hit the next step is when like the Air Force wants to really start acknowledging it. But I honestly think the Air Force is going to be probably the last of all of them to want to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Because they're the Air Force. You know what I mean? They're going to be the ones that are wanting to do the test on these things and keep it secretive.
Yeah.
That's my own opinion, but that's how I would see it. Where the Navy's more like, no, we're dealing with these things. Let's get it knowledge. Let's figure out what's going on.
Well, yeah, just this morning I read a story where the Navy was talking about, I think it was pretty recent, just like Navy man after Navy man was just reporting seeing like weird stuff during test flights and test runs and stuff. And it ever since the Nimitz and all that, it's been more and more and more every year that, you know, the Navy's out there doing these test runs and flights, and, you know, they're out there in the middle of the ocean and they're seeing all this stuff that they don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I can see the Air Force, like you said, just for reasons of, you know, testing and trying to figure out, you know, how their vehicles move as opposed to us. I can see that, but maybe we should pay more attention to our Navy right now because they're the ones out there.
Mm-hmm.
With all this crazy footage and pictures and whatnot, man.
So, you got any more on this?
I think that's it. You guys give us a moment here. We're a little rusty after 2 weeks, but hopefully the rest of the videos for the week won't be as crazy, just shooting back and forth. We'll get our groove back into this. Happy to be back. Happy to be doing this again. And I guess we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, well, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell
said.
notification. Do that.
He's smarter than I am. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.